Joining us now is our friend Caroline Glick. Of course, you could read her at carolineglick.com. She's a senior Middle East fellow at the Center for Security Policy, deputy managing editor at Jerusalem Post. Hey, Caroline, how are you?
I'm fine. How you doing, Steve?
Good. Always good to talk to you. And on this day where Benjamin Netanyahu came to Washington and met with Barack Obama, just a weekend after Obama, I guess, shocked the world and announced that he had, after being slapped in the face and rejected for the handshake request at the UN, he took it upon himself and called the new Iranian president and basically thinks, hey, now we could have an agreement. Everything's going to be hunky-dory.
Right. And it's very worrisome.
What's that?
And it's very worrisome.
It should. I'm sure it is. So Netanyahu to urge the president, at least publicly, to tighten the sanctions if Iran defies the West. And the president said that they will not take any options off the table on Iran, including military. Do you believe that?
No, not at all. The president, I think the problem is that the Obama administration seems to have cooked up something with Russia and did not consult with Israel because they knew that Israel would disapprove, because this deal, like the deal with Syria, is not going to be enforced, and it's not going to be a serious gambit that's going to lead to Iran abandoning its nuclear weapons program or ending its development of nuclear weapons through the uranium enrichment and the production of plutonium. So this is a really dangerous gambit that the Obama administration has taken, and it's going to work out based upon Obama's prior actions and also the statements that he made even in the presence of Prime Minister Netanyahu this afternoon. I think that it can only work out badly for everybody concerned except the Iranians and perhaps Russians.
So what does this do to Israel? In other words, if Israel is right and Iran has nefarious intentions and they move forward, all the while Obama says, "Oh, we're talking, they're cooperating. We could end these sanctions," as Kerry said, in a short amount of time. And Obama said, "Oh, the Ayatollah issued a fatwa against nuclear weapons, so he doesn't want them either." I mean, it's almost like it's scary. He's either so naive or doing this on purpose in a bad way. What does this tie Israel's hands if they want to move forward with military action?
Oh, absolutely. It puts Israel in a bind because the Americans are saying that they're going to be able to reach a deal that's going to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons without firing a shot, and that's not true. I mean, it's not true. Even just the basic things. Khamenei, the fatwa that Obama cited in his address before the UN General Assembly, was never issued. It's a lie. It was propaganda and has no basis in fact whatsoever. There was never a fatwa by Khamenei saying that Iran will not produce nuclear weapons. The entire exercise here in pretending that Iran can have anything but ill intentions towards the United States and towards Israel and towards the rest of the world is just it's not based on reality, unfortunately, at all. None of it.
Do you believe it's naivete, or do you believe it's something worse?
I really don't think I know the answer to that. And I don't know that it matters. The problem is that right now Israel is in a box because the Obama administration has adopted a policy through which Iran is going to acquire nuclear weapons, and because it's the United States negotiating with the Iranians, Israel is not going to feel free to attack Iran's nuclear installations in time to prevent them from acquiring nuclear weapons, from enriching sufficient amount of uranium in order to develop those weapons or producing plutonium to do so. So it's very much of a trap that Obama has laid for Israel, whether purposely or because he's really innocent to the point of stupidity.
We're talking to Caroline Glick here on the Steve Malzberg Show. You could read her at carolineglick.com. Managing deputy. I'm sorry.
And at jpost.com, of course.
And at jpost.com, Deputy Managing Editor, Jerusalem Post, former advisor to Bibi Netanyahu. So I want to ask you, you said that you believe that Russia, which obviously is behind the Syria nonsense, you believe that they're the key player here with Iran as well as it relates to Obama?
Oh, yes. I mean, I think that absolutely, yes, I do. I think that the Russians have been allied with the Iranians in Syria, and the Russians have been major suppliers of Iran's nuclear weapons program. They built the Bushehr reactor, and they have promised to provide Iran with sophisticated anti-aircraft guns that will make Iran more or less immune to airstrikes from Israel or the United States. So Iran is a strategic ally of Russia's. The notion that Russia doesn't play a key role in this as it did in Syria, where it's also the strategic protector of the Syrian regime in alliance with Iran and Hezbollah, it's just ridiculous. So it's a very central player here.
So let me ask you to play the fly on the wall role. When the doors were closed, what did Bibi say to Obama, and what did Obama say back, or vice versa?
I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you the truth. There's a fly on the. I don't think it was a very interesting conversation. I can't imagine it was a very interesting conversation because I don't think there's anything that Israel can say to Obama at this point. What are we supposed to say? You're endangering the free world. So he did that with Syria. I mean, you're enabling the worst enemies of the United States to acquire the worst weapons in the world. Does he not know this? I mean, what are you supposed to say? He's doing this in spite of, or to spite, I don't know, massive amounts of intelligence. The United States itself has accepted as credible and correct that states that Iran is building has a nuclear weapons program, that it is currently developing at a madcap pace, and that it is at the precipice of nuclear arsenal. So what is Israel supposed to say at this point? I mean, I don't even know. Why are you doing this to us?
Yeah, it's good. Now, is Netanyahu speaking?
I just want to add one more
Yeah, please,
thing
go
on
ahead.
that note, which is that I think one of the most insidious things about what Obama's doing is that we saw in his UN speech is that he's linked the Iranian issue to the Palestinian conflict with Israel, and he's stated that both of them are the central causes of instability and chaos in the Middle East. And that's simply not true. I mean, Israel, so what he's saying is that Israel is as guilty for the pathologies of the Middle East as Iran. It's a deeply insulting, deeply hostile statement that he made, and of course nobody remarks on it. It just sort of passes by as if nothing was said, but it was an extremely insulting remark. And I think that is in fact what's guiding his views, that he thinks that Israel is the central, or one of the central causes of violence and instability and war in the Middle East.
I believe he's always believed that, and the people he has always surrounded himself with, even pre-presidency, have always believed that. So I don't doubt that for a second. Well, is Benjamin Netanyahu speaking at the UN? Because I thought I saw that somewhere.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow he is. Okay, so to a General Assembly, which is still in session, I guess. Okay, all right. So we'll watch with interest. Hey, Caroline, it's a depressing picture you paint, but I don't see how it could be painted any differently. And I think Obama's figured out a way to really stick it to Israel here. And I just hope Jews all over the world, especially in this country, hold their political leaders responsible and speak out. But I wouldn't hold my breath based on what they did with Syria, how they supported the president in that effort. Caroline, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, and have a good day.
You too. Caroline.